It was right. All right, 7 o'clock. Call the meeting to order. Call roll.
Mr. Barker? Here. Mr. Folly?
Here.
Mr. Brown?
Here.
Mr. Rich?
Here.
Dr. Houghton?
Yeah.
Mr. Ellis?
He's here. He's here somewhere.
Mayor Goodwin?
Here.
We have a quorum.
So we have the invocation this evening by Mr. Grooms, followed by the pledge of allegiance.
All right. Bow our heads, everyone. Lord of wisdom, we pray that you will bless this meeting. Help us have fun yet productive discussions that will broaden our perspective. Help us to make the various ideas presented, think ways to flush them out. We do not disagree. If we do disagree, let it be on the content and not personality conflicts or power plays. Let us resolve any disputes gracefully, be creative problem solvers, and have a great team spirit. Help us to find principles that we all can agree on and put these into action. Amen.
Amen. I pledge allegiance
to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
So, under Mayor's comments, see, we have a couple more seats in here. So I'd like to come sit down on the back side here. One thing, we have the Halloween carnival coming up, so that's going to be a good time for all the young citizens. The next thing is, don't look like we're ever going to get a concert in the park because the weather forecast for tomorrow has been canceled again. We'll try on the 20th. If that one doesn't work, it might be next spring before we ever get that to happen, but hey, we keep trying. With that, we don't have any staff reports this evening. Have a approval of the previous agenda. Have a motion to approve.
So moved.
Have a second.
Second.
Have any corrections or additions?
Mr. Rich?
Yes.
Mr. Ellis?
Yes.
Dr. Houghton?
Yes.
Mr. Grooms?
Yes.
Mr. Farley?
Yes.
Mr. Barker?
Yes.
Mayor Goodwin?
Yes.
Passes.
So we're up to approval of minutes from September the 13th. Have a motion to approve.
So moved.
Second. Have any additions or corrections?
Mr. Barker?
Yes.
Mr. Farley?
Yes.
Mr. Grooms?
Yes.
Dr. Houghton?
Yes.
Mr. Ellis?
Yes.
Mr. Rich?
Yes.
Mayor Goodwin?
Yes.
Passes.
So we're up to personal appearances. Mr. McFarland, you're up first.
I'm John McFarland, representing Save Folly's Future. On a personal note, I would like to thank each and every person that took the time to make an effort to sign the petition. It was a singular effort, and 469 people ultimately signed, and that's the thing you're going to receive tonight. Save Folly's Future would like to present to you, the City Council, a citizen's petition to limit the number of investment STRs to a maximum of 800. The petition speaks for itself. It contains over 450 signatures and represents nearly 25% of the city's registered voters. Here are my 4 takeaways from the petition drive. 1, the mayor's original proposal to limit investment STRs was and is a fair balance between tourism and residential priorities. 2, most people think that limiting investment STRs represents a profound policy shift. and as such, it should be decided by the community at the ballot box, not in council chambers. 3, even those individuals that stopped by to tell me that they didn't like the petition made it a point that they supported a referendum. Why? First, they said that they do not want 7 people telling them what they can or can't do with their property, and they also want the opportunity to personally vote against the petition. Fair enough. 4, people on both sides of this issue are very passionate about it. Limiting STRs pits one group's view of property rights against another's view of the neighborhood for preservation, security, and a better quality of life, especially when it comes to noise and parking. In all likelihood, the ordinance contained within this petition that I am going to hand over to you in a few minutes will be before you in a few months. I see no harm tonight in making a case now for our Save Folly's Future preferred choice as to how you choose, because as you know, there are only 2 choices. The best course of action for you, in my opinion, and those you represent, is to allow this matter to become a citizens' referendum. Let those individuals that will be most affected by more and more STRs to decide for themselves which vision of the future they desire, a city with STR limits or a city without STR limits. Most residents on both sides of this issue crave to be heard and would relish an opportunity to be part of a process of self-determination. And I'm asking you to consider, when it comes that time, to allow them to participate in this civic exercise of direct democracy. A decision by the voters is sacrosanct, and it's the best course of action for a polarizing issue like this STR issue is. It takes it off your table and it puts it in front of the voters. People will accept and support the results of a referendum. Much like the citizen sewer referendum in the 1980s. It saved the island from commercial and condominium development. This council, you in particular, honor the spirit and the intent of that referendum, even though it's 40 years old. As a community, we're better off for having such a robust and spirited debate on this issue, even though I know you got a lot of emails for them. Save Folly's Future encourages you to allow all the pent-up frustrations in the past few years to be vented through a citizens' referendum on this particular petition. Thank you very much. And now I'm ready to turn this over to you, Mayor, City Council.
Step over to Mr. Graham's desk and he'll give you a receipt for it.
Thank you.
Thank you.
All yours.
So, we're up to Marsh Island Residential Zoning District.
Hello,
Hello.
my name is Jamie Mitchum. I live at 1222 Tabby Drive and am a new member of the Planning Commission. I'm speaking on behalf of a group of concerned citizens. It has come to our attention that although the Marsh Island residential zone was passed in 2019, there are currently no Marsh Islands designated in this zone. We are requesting that the Marsh Islands within the City of Folly Beach's jurisdiction be included in Marsh Island residential. These islands are essential to the health and well-being of our marsh, maritime forests, rivers, creeks, and wildlife. With increased development, it has become more critical that we protect these treasures. This request supports the goals in both the city's 2021 comprehensive plan, specifically goal number 10 on page 98, and the marshfront management plan under zoning proposals 3.2, page 27. We would like for City Council to consider this request and move forward with designating these islands as Marsh Island Residential. Thank you very much for your consideration and your time.
Thank you. Mr. Weatherford, I saw you come in. Where are you at?
Yes,
There you
sir. I'm Skipper Weatherford. I'm here representing the Sandella Social Club. I'm here to ask council permission to block off one lane of West Arctic for both of my benefits coming up. Scooters for Hooters, October 23rd, and Toys for Tots, December the 4th. It's our 11th year for Scooters for Hooters. All that money goes to Share Our Susie, which is a nonprofit. None of the board members take 1 penny. And Toys for Tots, everybody knows about Toys for Tots. Our 14th year for that. We use it for parking only. I have my own barricades and cones. My staff and myself will block it off. I don't need the assistance of chief or police department, so I'd ask to waive the fee. That's pretty much it. It's the same every year.
So, Andrew.
I'll make a motion to approve.
Okay. So a second?
Second.
Andrew, you don't have a problem? It's worked fine for how many years?
14 years?
14?
They do a great job.
Okay.
What if it rains? You have rain dates?
No, we do it rain or shine.
So if you float out, it's okay.
Rain or shine. Okay. We're not changing the dates.
Extra security?
Yep. Okay. I got DJ Rich coming to work.
And just
He said security.
and just for my education.
Yes, ma'am.
Did you take a little time off because of COVID? Or
Yes.
did you do it?
No, we did a drive-by toy drop-off.
That's
That's what we did during COVID. Yes, ma'am. And we did pretty well with it.
good. Okay, thank you.
Yes, ma'am.
I think for, how much did you raise last year? Remember?
10,600 and over 600 toys for Toys for Tots.
Toys for Tots. How about
We were
that?
number 1 in Charleston.
Yeah, I was gonna say, I thought y'all were number 1 in
Yeah,
Charleston.
Al Fowler said it's the biggest single contribution he's seen in 30 years. So it's, people love Toys for Tots. The Rains will be there. We have 6 bands, Swig and Swine Barbecue. It's a really good party at great cost.
Yeah. How about the Scooters for Hooters?
Scooters for Hooters, I think last year was like 14,000. In 10 years, this will be our 11th year for Scooters for Hooters. We've raised over $100,000
Very good.
for Share Our Susie, Low Country. All the money stays local.
Breast cancer.
Yes, sir. Big or small, check them
Sure,
all.
for Scooters for Hooters.
I didn't wear a shirt today.
I've had to ship those T-shirts around the country, so. There's a lot of motorcycle riders out there that love those
Everybody
T-shirts.
loves those T-shirts.
All right, any other question, discussion?
Dr. Hutton,
Yes.
Mr. Groom.
Yes.
Mr. Ellis,
Yes.
Mr. Rich,
Yes.
Mr. Barker,
Yes.
Mr. Farley,
Yes.
Mayor Goodwin,
Yes.
passes.
Thank you all
Sir.
very much. Have a good night.
Keep your feet dry.
Yes, sir.
Okay, Mr. Grady?
Yes. Hello. Mayor Goodwin,
Good evening.
council members, Aaron, Wesley, thank you for having me. My name is Tim Grady. I'm a local location manager and photo producer. And I'm working with a company called Amanda Burtney Productions. And we're working on a photo video shoot this week for Mercedes-Benz Sprinter van. They have a factory up in North Charleston where they build them. And because we're using mainly prototypes in 2023s, we can't go too far from the factory to film. And the big thing we're asking for that we know is not allowed is to put a Sprinter van on the beach. We'd like to start our shoot. We have one Sprinter van to shoot a workout scenario that we want to shoot in the parking lot of Folly County Park at the end, totally controlled, not on the beach, in the morning. And then high tide is at 10:50, and we probably break for lunch at about 12:30, and then at about 1 o'clock, I have a couple of police officers on hold to do this safely, and and we're just taking photos and shooting some video to try to sell the vans. It's for their online content and marketing purposes. So the big thing is that we are a larger production than the small, and so we have 35 people. We have more vehicles, but everything will be on county property. We will not take up one parking space from
the town of Folly Beach. And I didn't know if I could answer any questions or if you had any
I'm
concerns.
gonna get a motion. Have a motion for approval?
So moved.
Have a second?
Second.
Okay, so that was a couple of questions answered. The biggest problem is, if you'd have been 6 or 8 months ago, it might not have been as big a problem. But right now, those dunes have took a beating. There's no way to get a sprinter van on that beach in County Park, I was just there, without tearing up some more dunes. There's not a wide enough access point that's already there that a sprinter van to go through. That's my big concern. We've already had dune destruction because of Ian, and everything else you want to do in the parking lot, it's fine, I don't care. But getting on the beach, I'm not for that. I just stay up front just because I don't want to mess the dunes up any more than they've already been messed up.
We don't want to mess up the dunes
Yeah, I know.
either or create any problem at all. I stopped by yesterday to see the beach access, but if you don't think that it can be done safely or without tearing up the dunes, I don't.
It's not wide enough. It's wide enough for a little four-wheeler to go through, and that's it. I mean, those tracks, the dunes go up from the tracks, and I went to both of them to look at it. So, I mean, just because of what I needed to see. So I personally, to go onto the beach, my answer would be no. It's just because of that. And we just really don't, I mean, we spent all week, this week and part of last week, trying to get money started to rebuild those dunes, and I don't want to tear them up anymore than they've already been messed up, personally. I don't know how the rest of this crew feels.
Can you stay in the parking lot and shoot in such a way that it appears the van is on the beach?
It would be very hard to do the way that it shifted now, and believe me, I've been trying to sell that to my client the whole time. And if it doesn't work here, then we have to go down to Hunting Island, which is fine, but it's just, 2 hours down, 2 hours back, and a lot harder logistically. Yes, ma'am.
Okay. What was the feedback that you got from County Park? I mean, I assume the discussion was prior in, now after. So have you had a recent discussion?
Yes.
Okay, so what was their response?
County Park is, right now, just because of some confusion with approval, they're not willing to do anything that the council of Folly and the mayor is willing to approve.
So you have to come here so you can go back to them.
Well, they let me know that, it's,
Okay, bottom line, just, because there's a lot of
they were fine with everything we wanted to do, but, they don't want to do anything that you guys aren't good with. And I understand that. They want to make sure.
So you talked to them recently, like after
Yesterday, yes.
Like yesterday.
Do you have written approval from the county parks?
I do not,
Okay.
because of the way it went down, they do not want to step on your toes.
Well, he couldn't get written approval from them to use the beach.
Right.
The beach still belongs.
But I'm talking about, do you have
to
written
us.
approval just to use the parking lot,
Their
system?
they had approved the permit, yes.
Okay, do you have a written approval?
I do not.
Okay, that's all I'm asking.
I'm sorry.
Thank you.
So if you can't access the beach at the park, and you're looking for a beach shoot, there's probably another place they can get on the beach.
Not really, not since the storms.
19th, but it dips off, it just.
Yeah.
I
The
know
storm has changed all that and access points. And a lot of them you can't get around the drawings and what's remaining of the old drawings now because they're all uncovered.
Do you have a tow truck?
I have Palmetto towing on hold, and they have what's called a stick steer that has the tracks on it that can go out and lift up the whole sprinter if it gets stuck without hurting it with the.
You have a tow truck for the tow truck?
Yeah, well, it's on tracks like
I know, I
the
understand.
tank, so
Yeah.
it won't.
So
get
that just tears the sand up even more.
Well, we don't plan on getting the van
Well, I know.
at all.
Like I said, I'm not planning on being on the beach, but I don't know where the rest of these guys are. Any other questions?
Believe me, I wouldn't ask if they didn't insist on wanting to do this.
Mr. Pope?
Mr. Farley?
No.
Mr. Ellis?
No.
Mr. Rooms?
Yeah.
Mr. Rich?
No.
Dr. Houghton?
Yes.
Mr. Barker?
No.
Mayor Goodwin?
No,
Fails.
It's really just all about the dunes.
that's
If
it.
the mayor says there's not a place to safely get through, we take too much of a beating and we spend too much money to restore them.
I understand, and there is a possibility I could do a donation towards Dune,
$1.5 million.
restoration.
That's what I'm saying, if you believe in we're putting the bottom, then, come back in tomorrow, we'll talk about it.
I don't know if Mercedes could do that. I mean, they do have a $500 million plant, and they employ 1,600 people locally in the area. And I was just trying to go the extra mile for them.
I understand.
A local Charleston County client. Well, thank you for your
Thank
time,
you.
energy, and consideration.
Thank you.
I appreciate it.
So who's doing the spirit shoot?
David is,
Okay. So they had you down as the main contact, that's why I was wondering.
that was my job until the
Okay,
Mercedes job.
okay.
I had to find it back.
So you hand off to me. Mayor, Council, how you doing? My name's Dave Rattuge, and I'm location scout manager here in Charleston as well. I'm here tonight to request a special events permit for still photography for a photo shoot for Sperry brand shoes. Our shoot is scheduled to take place tomorrow, October 12th, from about 7 a.m. to 7 p.m. Two locations that we're seeking permission for to photograph. First one is on the sidewalk of Center Street. Specifically the block between West Cooper and West Ashley Avenue. And we will have crew parking, base camp located in a lot behind McKelvin Surf Shop, located at 8 Center Street. We anticipate 10 to 15 personal vehicles for crew, one passenger van, like a Sprinter van, and a motorhome that we use for a base camp for production. All that we'd like to fit in our base camp there behind McKelvin's. Photography will include product shots of actors walking down the sidewalk. It's one of the shops with the closed surf bar, they can maybe do a couple photographs in front of that, staying on the sidewalk as well. We'll use natural light, minimal gear, looking to have minimal impact on local businesses and give right away to pedestrians and shoppers and tourists alike. And then, in addition to that, due to the schedule of the shoot, we've already reached out in advance to all local businesses in the immediate area, and we have a location agreement in place with the owner of several shops on that block, including Banana Dolce, Center Street Coffee, Beachfront Gifts, Palms, and Aqua Surf Shops. We have Sergeant Martin on standby that can be with us for the entire day of the shoot from 7 a.m. till we wrap to help us during our shoot on the sidewalk. And then for location 2, requesting permission to photograph along the beach at Inlet Heritage Preserve. We'd like to set up crew parking in a base camp inside the gated area once you pass that yellow gate at the end of East Ashley. And we anticipate having one passenger van, again 10 to 12 personal vehicles, and the motorhome for production. There's a small lot at the end of that graffiti street there where it would be perfect for a base camp to squeeze everyone in, keep everyone off of sand, to make sure everyone, all wheels, all personal vehicles are on the cement area. Photography will consist of actors walking on the beach. We'd also like to have a very small, about 12-foot camper for a prop that we use for photography purposes. We park right next to the other vehicles and have some actors in front of the camper as a prop. And we're fully insured production, and we will provide the city and county parks with a certificate of insurance, meaning that additional insured. And we also have a business license with the city in advance. Any questions?
Have a motion for approval?
So,
moved.
second.
So I got a question for you. Can you work this out with the park about using that parking space at the end of the roadway?
Yeah, we put in for a permit. Tim did that before I took over.
They approved that, right?
They approved it?
Do you got it in writing?
Yeah.
Yes, they sent us the approved permit.
And you got in writing from McKelvin's Park as well?
Yes, we signed a deal with them.
Well,
It's Rita's.
it's not, it's the gentleman behind
Behind.
McKelvin's, he owns the lot.
Okay, the other,
We already paid.
107
okay,
Yeah,
got
we
it.
paid for that in
Okay.
advance, so they.
So that's Rita's, right?
The parking lot behind me. The paid part, right?
It's a
Got
paid
it.
parking lot, yeah.
And that's all been worked out.
Yeah, it's already paid.
So they won't take up any parking spaces in Folly.
And everything's on foot.
Yes, yeah, and we have, like I said, Folly Sergeant Martin, who will be there to assist us with anything.
Do you require a street closure on that block?
Not at all.
Center?
No, we just will be on the sidewalk, and I made it clear to everyone, we just had a text out today that, pedestrians, patrons have the right of way. We're there as a guest only.
Rain or shine, do you have a rain date?
Rain or shine.
They're
gonna make it
You wear those shoes everywhere, man.
We will.
They're made for boats, right?
Right, boat shoes.
Any other questions?
Y'all got anyone? Mr. Booth?
Mr. Ellis,
Yes.
Mr. Rich,
Yes.
Mr. Farley,
Yes.
Dr. Houghton,
Yes.
Mr. Barker,
Yes.
Mr. Grooms.
Yes.
Mayor Goodwin,
Yes.
passes.
Thank you.
Thank you, council.
Cupid Undy Run. Christine Noble, there she is.
Hello, I'm Christy Nobles, here to get approval for the Cupid's Undo Run. We do this every year at Loggerheads. It's from 12 to 4 on February 11th. And we go to the special events meeting and discuss that, and we do have 3 of the officers that will be there. We do shut the street down for about 30 to 45 minutes for the walk. The only issue this year is the pier construction. So if we can't run under the pier like we did in all the years before, we've got to have an alternate route. So I've been kind of thinking about that, because all the equipment is out there, so we don't want people running anywhere. We usually go up from Loggerheads to Second, come back around under the pier, and then come back at the end. So I didn't know when the pier would be finished, or if that's going to be an issue. We can work around it. It's not, the running's not the big part of the
You
event
might be
anyway.
getting close, but
Yeah.
people, there's an open space out there,
Yeah.
low tide where you can get back and
Go back
forth.
third, okay. They just asked in the other meeting that I have a backup,
Okay.
so I've been trying to think of some options, but, I have I met with Ed and he's okay with us doing it again. Last year, we raised over $30,000, for the Children's Tumor Foundation, and this year, we've upped our goal to 50, so we're hoping we can make that too, so.
Motion approved.
Second.
Any questions, comments?
Mr. Grooms.
Yes.
Mr. Farley.
Yes.
Mr. Barker,
Yes.
Mr. Rich,
Yes.
Dr. Houghton,
Yes.
Mr. Ellis,
Yes.
Mayor Goodwin.
Yes. How many years has this been? Do you remember?
I've been doing it for about 7. I know Chrissy had done it probably 5 or 6 years before that.
Been a while.
It's been a while, yeah.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Excuse me, can I speak again real quick, or is that not?
I'll let you go ahead.
Thank you. I was just thinking that if, once I tell my client that we can't shoot there, if I can talk him into doing it just in the parking lot, could we have that approved? Or could we-
You got it approved through Charleston County Parks in the
No,
parking lot.
Well, yeah,
That's all you need for them.
Okay.
As long as you stay in their parking lot.
okay, copy that, thank you.
Yeah.
Get it right.
As long as you stay in their parking lot, that's all you need.
Then we're good, okay, thank you.
Yeah. Citizen comments. Yes, sir. I forgot you were sitting there.
It's okay, busy meeting. Hi, I'm Forrest Bjork, and I'm ready for Charleston County School Board. Part of my district is all of Folly Beach, so I just wanted to come and introduce myself, say hi to everybody. I'm a father of 2 small boys, I'm a businessman. I'm looking to get in there and clean up the schools, balance the budget, and quit these tax increases. Thank you.
What's your name again?
Forrest Bjork.
Okay, thank you.
Forrest is an easy name to remember, right?
Man, I got it.
Popular movie.
Run, Forrest, run.
Yeah.
My name is Chris Henderson, 350 East Cooper. As far as the moratorium and all of the STR issues, my place is unique to some of the other places, the way the lot's designed with 3 houses on it. I bought it to live in, but I can't live in 3 houses. You know, I bought it with the intentions of living in one and keeping the other 2 rented out to help fund my retirement. with the issues at hand, if that ever be a problem, I mean, couldn't afford it, couldn't be able to be there.
Do you have a business license now?
Yes,
So you have a rental business license now?
yes,
Don't lose it.
well,
It goes forward with you.
well, one of the concerns I have is just say something, health condition comes up and I need to sell it, I can't sell it because of things that are put in place. You know, you can't subdivide it and sell it as two separate places because there's a house in the middle of the lot. Is there any provision that could be done for something like that?
Not this petition that we got, they take it as is. That's what you vote on. That's the state law.
Well, one of the other questions I have, as follows along with what Mr. Parker was asking earlier. I mean, it's kind of strange because it's also 4% but a 6% at the same time, because I can only get 4% on one of the houses because I'm living in that one.
Right.
It's kind of odd how that would work, you know, as far as how it would be as 4% treated as 4% or 6%. If I had one big house and rented out rooms in the house, it would be okay. But because they're not attached, it's not okay.
That's right. You got 3 different houses and you get 3 different tax bills probably.
That actually taxes one.
So all 3 buildings are taxes one,
Well, I get one tax bill for all of it.
but it's all different. It's broke up.
I'd have to look at that a little closer to answer that.
Anyway,
I
it don't matter.
Well, I'm asking
So, I mean, I don't know, you can't live in all of them, so you can only
Right.
claim one of them as your residence. So
Right.
the other 2, you got short-term rental licenses for now. Just keep it. Just don't lose it.
Don't intend.
I would certainly argue that as the property owner and you live in there, that's it, and it's 4%. Not each dwelling separately,
No,
it's the property.
you can argue that all you want to, but it don't work that way.
Well, they originally agreed to it, and then they came back and said no after that,
That's-
you know?
Yeah,
So, right.
thank you. Spam.
Donna Bowling, 421 East Hudson. I live in Somerville, so this is a STR. We plan to move here. I'd like to see you vote no on the moratorium. Mayor, I appreciate the position about why we might want to vote on the moratorium, but to the point that it will immediately lower property values. So the minute somebody is looking to buy a license, buy a home that is under this review in the moratorium, right now someone is able to get a business license. The minute the moratorium is in place, they would not be able to get a business license. It's not going to reduce homes in this bracket to an affordability level that would increase long-term rentals or to increase the number of primary owners that are 4% owners. We're going to leave homes that are going to be purchased, these homes, because of both the climate as well as the proximity to the ocean. These are going to primarily become second properties. In this case, they're either going to be owned by somebody that lives somewhere else, or they're going to be owned by an investor, and in which case we're going to end up with potential theft, unoccupied homes for this period of time. This again opens up to a market that's for investors. So we're going to ripen the market for investors. They're going to be able to sit out and wait out the laws. From an STR standpoint, they're going to be able to sit on these properties, and similar to the legislation that happened in Wilmington, an STR legislation is likely to get overturned. So for the Save Folly's future, I'd like to see us vote no. The ban on an 800 limit license, it will take approximately 4.5 years to clear that. So there will be no immediate benefit to having an 800 license limit. Approximately 100 homes were sold last year. 40% of those homes were STRs. So if we use that number, 40 homes a year approximately will return to have us reach the cap. 2% of the homes last year, 1% of the homes would potentially have lost their license to business license through violation forfeiture. That would be approximately 22 homes. So we're going to lose about 60 homes a year to the business license to affect the cap. It's not going to guarantee that full-time residents are going to purchase in this community, again, leaving us open to second homeowners, as well investors, leaving these homes vacant for a majority of the year. No immediate improvement to livability. We talked about livability.
Thank you, ma'am.
Thank you.
Can I speak?
Yeah.
Thank you. My name's Sam Meter. My wife and I live at 318 East Arctic Avenue. We have short-term rentals that we operate. And I'm here to ask you to vote no on the moratorium. I think I'm also a real estate agent, and I know that there's a lot of people just sitting on the sidelines. And there's a difference between sitting on the sidelines and running away from the stadium. And I think the moratorium is gonna just tell people that Folly's closing for business on this kind of thing. Vote no on the moratorium. Let the referendum, I don't know when you guys will be voting on that. I don't know if the signatures have to get verified first before you vote on the referendum.
Absolutely.
So vote no on that and let the people decide by vote. But I don't think the moratorium gets what you want. It's just gonna create more confusion in the marketplace, and vote no on the moratorium. Thank you.
Anyone else?
How you doing? Richard Brundle, 3 Red Sunset Lane. Since we are considering passing laws in direct response to the Save Folly Future referendum, I think it's time that we really need to look at and understand exactly what they're asking us to vote on. There is not a single person in this room that doesn't have Folly's future in its interest. Although this referendum might seem to have some overall positive themes that are hitting chords with a lot of residents, it also has some very damaging and permanent underlying results for every Folly resident. There have been 0 studies conducted on the impact of these harsh ordinances proposed by Save Folly's Future. So what are they asking us to vote yes for? They are asking us to permanently give away your property rights to pretty much ever use your home to create income as an STR. You may not feel the need for that constitutional right at the moment, but you could have a change in your life. You would be taking away that right away from yourself, your family, your children, and any potential buyers. Which brings up the next, just as important result of Save Folly's Future referendum. By voting yes, we would be instantly and drastically devaluing not just our personal homes, but every property on Folly Beach. In an economic model, if you take away 50% of the buyers, prices plummet. This is an inevitable result of not allowing licenses to transfer. It could take decades for our property values to get back to where they are today. No one wants Folly to be all vacation rentals, but there are better ideas out there that don't ask you to give up your constitutional rights and devalue your property at the same time. Let's get some actual studies done. Let's take time to make a deeper dive into this before we blindly agree to another yet off the hip idea that will drastically affect our island forever. Do not vote yes. Do not pass this moratorium. Thank you.
Anyone else? No, wait, we're not doing that. Now,
I'm not sure you have a constitutional right to a business license.
wait, tell us who you are.
My name is Richard Beck. I live in Town One. You know, it's a residential district. And when I was on city council in the 80s, and we set it up that way because we wanted people to have a place where they could live. Investment-owned STRs are, by their nature, a commercialization of the residential district. So it's a non-compliant use. 800 is about 1/3 of all the houses. The point is that if you don't limit it at some point, then it will be the predominant face of the community, which does 2 things, which is increase the density of the number of people on Folly Beach, and also makes it more and more difficult for people to find the kinds of peacefulness that they need to call Folly home. And I guess it was our intent back in the 80s that we wanted Folly first and foremost to be a place where people live. So I think a moratorium is appropriate in that obviously 469 people, almost 500 people, thought it was important enough to go down and put their names on the petition. That's a lot of people. And so it's a community, it is a community interest that has a lot of support. And so having a moratorium really just stops the clock, Nobody loses anything they already have. And let's let it play out. Thank you.
Yes, ma'am.
Tony Cato, 320 East Huron. I moved here 44 years ago to live here. I did not move here to make money on the island. This is my home. I like peace and quiet. I have short-term rentals across from me, down the street from me. They're constantly making noise. It's very, very unfortunate. I do feel that the people who want to stop and not have a cap need to think about a few things. The city of Mount Pleasant is, I don't know how many times bigger than we are. They're looking at a cap of 400. We have a third of what they have, and we're looking at a cap of 800. I realize that we are a destination for people to come and have a good time, and I'm not against that, but I also think the people who have short-term rentals, unless they have a whole lot of money and they're going to go out and buy a whole bunch more, they need to realize that they're kind of at an advantage. If we put a cap on them, that makes their short-term rental more desirable. Because if I have something, I have a product, and it's limited and you can't get that much of it, then people are going to pay more for mine. Mine's going to be more desirable. If this whole island turns into short-term rentals, to me, that would cut their advantage and people might not want to go there. The other thing I would like the city council to consider is what's happened up north and other places where they had no limit, and those towns have literally closed down because of too much tourism and no people living there at all. Therefore, they didn't have a city council anymore because there were no residents to vote for city councils, and the whole town's just shut down. Thanks.
Let me say something. Go ahead. You go sit down. But before we go any further with citizen comments, there's no reason to stand up here and talk to this council about, yes, we want it, no, we don't want it. That's out of their hands. The petition is in. The petition signatures, if they get verified, I'm sure the council will probably, since Save Folly's Future asked them to, will go to a vote. That vote will be held no less than 30 days after it comes back to city council. It has to be done within a year. I assure you, we're going to be working with Charleston County voters to get that commission, to get that done as soon as possible after the 30 days, just to get it over with. So all this argument about vote yes and vote no don't need to come to these guys, because they're done. They can't vote but one way. That's either to vote it in or send it to y'all for the vote of a referendum, which is what it seems like most people wanted to do. So just think about that before you get up here and talk to them about voting yes or no. What I just wrote down is who's going to run the forum for the debate on the referendum, because there's two sides out there, and it seems to me like the two sides would want to have a big meeting somewhere and have their discussion back and forth. But that's not here, that's not there. But I'm just saying, so talking to these guys about voting yes or no, they got one vote out of however many people there are registered voters in the city of Folly Beach when they go to vote that one time. So
why are we voting on a moratorium?
The moratorium is to stop issuing licenses. It has nothing to do with the petition. It's just stop issuing licenses until this question is answered once and for all. Yes, sir, you want to speak?
What's the percentage of residents that have to vote yes to kick off a referendum?
It's done. The referendum is they already got
25% is enough to kick off a
referendum. They already got, what'd you have to have, 360 names?
15%.
15% kicks off a referendum?
Of registered voters. Registered voters, not citizens, not people who live here.
Okay, but we live here. My name is Ryan Coverdale. We live on 705 East Cooper.
That's fine.
I'm
No, I'm just saying, yeah.
I'm raising two daughters on Folly Beach. I'm 40 years old. My wife is a psychiatrist in the USC. We're doing everything we can to raise our kids on this island. And a critical aspect of that is Airbnb. Us being able to short-term rental and putting a strike system on something that's going to affect my retirement and my ability to raise my daughters here is completely unacceptable. And I say that to all y'all because I live here and this means the world to me to raise my kids here. But this is the way things are going. It's short-term rental. Folly has been a vacation destination for 100 years. It's nothing new. There's a new economic model for it where homeowners get to make some money. This investor thing doesn't single out investors and not homeowners. It singles out homeowners the worst because homeowners don't have investor money. I'm trying my hardest to raise my kids here, and that's the future of Folly. It's not people that have retirement money, people that can, as you mentioned earlier, wait on investing on a property. There's only, by different numbers, 1,500 to 2,000 houses on this island. And when there's one available and you get lucky enough like we did to get one, I can't afford to buy my house right now. So you start taking this stuff away, you start being punitive and making ways in which people can lose their retirement. Anybody would feel the same way if you talk about taking away their retirement, their ability to raise their kids where they want to. So I'm saying, sorry if that's out of the lines from what the parameters you just said, but hey, we need to take this off the table or we're taking away us young families' ability to raise our kids here.
One thing about it, are you living in your house as you rent rooms?
Yes, sir.
So that's a different process. That's a whole different process than what this petition talks about.
It's not though, because my house has 2 buildings, one of which is grandfathered in.
Now, if you got 2 buildings on your lot, that's a
right.
different, you're back like the other gentleman, you got 1 resident and 1 short-term rental. So that's a whole different question, but to take it off the table is not a question. Because we have our hands are tied by state law. They presented a petition with
400 voters out of 2,400 houses.
15% is what the state says you have to have. It has to be verified. Those voters' registrations have to be verified. They will be.
Yep.
And if they're not 15% on that list, then there won't be a vote. If there is 15% on that list, then there will be a vote. State law is what they handed us. We can't change the petition. I'm just saying, I'm just telling you how it goes. We can't change it. We have to accept it as handed to us. So
I understand your point there, but this fellow over here, I met him when we had a petition booth outside the post office. And he says to me, we didn't have a great way to put these rules in, so we used a sledgehammer. 800 is completely arbitrary out of 1,100 that's issued today. It's unfathomable to try to put this on people. This is not a private island, and I have got 100% 5-star reviews from all the families that have come to Folly and enjoy Folly because of us. And we've used that to raise our family here. I'm tired of this thing where it can be taken away from us.
I'm sorry, but your time's up, but I understand.
Okay,
Thank you.
thanks for listening.
your comment. Yeah.
Can we ask a question about property rights? So like, I understand he's talking about citizens and the citizens that live here and putting it to a referendum. But because my home is somewhere else, I'm not a citizen of Folly,
You
but.
take that up with the state because the state
Okay,
says
But will
that's
the
what it is.
state, from a legal standpoint, is there, you're asking us to put this up to a citizen vote, but the truth of the matter is there's a lot of citizens in this room that don't get a vote.
Ma'am, I can't help that.
Okay.
It's registered voters that live here. That's state law. That's it.
Okay.
Any other comments?
Good evening, Council. I'm Elizabeth Walter. I live at 119 East Cooper. I am a full-time resident. I'm a 4% resident, and I'm a voter. I live here full-time. I could not love this place anymore. And I am very opposed to any moratorium. I understand that Save Folly's Future has done an amazing job in what their efforts have been, that it will go to a referendum. I certainly will be voting against their cap, and will encourage as many people as I can to also to vote against it. But in the meantime, until that plays out, I would ask you all to vote against a moratorium. Thank you.
Somebody else asked. Yeah.
Adam Copenhaver, 3045 Creek Cottage Lane. I'm not a resident, although I do conduct a lot of business on the island.
and I am here to represent and talk on behalf of a lot of our clients that are building houses on the island, will be future residences, but are not yet. And a large majority of them are pursuing the STR. I'm here to request that a moratorium that is up for the vote. My understanding is you can vote the moratorium on your own or go to referendum, right? My recommendation is to encourage a vote against the against the moratorium, to allow the process to continue, to allow studies to continue to be done about this.
Wait a
to
minute,
allow the community.
hold it. The moratorium has nothing to do with the process of the petition. It's completely separate. That petition is going to get verified. If it gets verified, it's going forward. Moratorium or no moratorium, it's going, just like it is. There's no timeout for studies. That petition is up for the referendum. That's where it's headed.
So the moratorium, if you vote tonight, the moratorium will put a pause.
On issuing licenses, not the petition, not the process of the petition, not the
Understood.
process of the referendum.
So I'm encouraging the referendum process rather than the moratorium process.
The moratorium has nothing to do with the referendum. That's what I'm telling you. The referendum process is completely separate from the moratorium.
What is the vote on tonight?
The vote is tonight is to stop issuing STR licenses, period, until this question is answered. It's going to be answered either by a moratorium or a vote of this council. That's completely different. It doesn't have to do with the timing of the moratorium, the timing of the referendum or the timing of this council adopting the ordinances presented.
So, thank you for explaining. The folks that I represent, which are our clients, which you conduct a lot of business here with, their investment decisions to purchase real estate on Folly Beach, make it a permanent home likely eventually, but rent it in the meantime for their investment. Those folks, if you do decide to stop the permitting process for business licenses on STR, is significantly impacted.
Do they have a license now?
They do not have a license because they need a CO. before
That's
they
right.
apply.
So they might not get a CO before, if that cap gets put in place by a referendum,
It's fine if it does.
I'm just saying, it don't matter. So you can't, the moratorium doesn't affect you till you get a CO. How far are you out from getting a certificate of occupancy?
But the vote.
How far are you out from getting a certificate of occupancy?
It varies from months to a year.
Yeah, so the moratorium's probably over with before you ever get to your certificate of occupancy, and you can't get a license until you get one of those.
But for an individual who's trying to make a decision on their personal investment.
Well, if they haven't got to a certificate of occupancy now, then they need to be looking at their decision. This isn't a debate, I'm just telling you.
I agree, no, but.
I want all these other folks to understand, you just said months to a year out before you get a CO. You can't get a license until you get a CO. This question will be over with one way or the other. It might get turned down by the people, I don't know. If it goes to a vote, it might get voted down. That's a 50-50 shot when you walk in there to vote. But it's not gonna affect you one way or the other unless it gets adopted and you don't have a CO in hand where you can get a license anyway.
But the moratorium is an immediate impact.
Yeah, but it's not gonna impact you if you're months out. If you
First-
got one that's gonna be due tomorrow, it might affect you, but if you're months out, it's not gonna affect you.
I would argue that it does affect their decision process for their investment.
If they're making decisions now, then they need to be making decisions of looking at what's going
But
on.
the board has the opportunity to make a vote on this moratorium that will help by that time to listen to the citizens of Folly Beach in order to.
It's
make-
not. Thank you.
Thank you.
You're not getting it. I appreciate it. Any other questions? Thanks.
Comments?
Yeah.
I'm Richard Parker, 1029 West Ashley Avenue. I didn't wade too much into the short-term rental debate until I saw the newsletter, and it looks like it's coming up for a third time. And I kind of like what the fellow said over here about he's tired of this. I'm kind of tired of this. Continuing to talk about, seems like the same issue. Came up May 11th and failed 5-2. Came up again, I don't know why it had to come up again because no means no. But it came up June 14th and failed again 5-2. And here we are again.
Mr. Parker,
Yes.
the answer to your question is, it's coming up because 15% of the registered voters in the city of Folly Beach sign a petition saying this is what we want. Our hands are tied. It's going to a vote.
Right.
So
Can another petition be taken up by another faction of the resident
you
community?
can take up another petition if you want to, but this one's going first and then the other one have to go second, so.
Then we'd be here a fourth time or fifth time, and where would it stop?
The state law puts it that way, I'm sorry.
The state spends a lot of time trying to get Charleston and the beaches to attract tourists down here, and does a really good job. Because vacationers are coming because they love Folly Beach. We got a lot of sand out there, they love the beach. I'm speaking as a resident only. I'm a resident and I do not have a short-term rental license on my house. So that means that if we pass to restrict the ability for me to get a license, when I bought the property and when all the residents bought their properties, they inherited the right to apply for a short-term rental license and meet the criteria and obtain a short-term rental license. If this passes, I'm just speaking as a resident, and that right is taken away, all the folks that recognize that when they go to sell their houses, if they have to, I estimate it's gonna be about a 20-25% deep discount to sell their houses. It's not gonna sell at market rate where the other houses have short-term rental licenses. It's gonna sell.
Short-term rental licenses don't get carried over.
Short-term, well, that's it, what it used to. When you inherited the right, it could get carried over.
You didn't get carried over, you had to apply for it, but that's, anyway.
So, every resident could have a tragedy where they have to leave Folly Beach for a year at a time. I've got a mother that's aging who cares for my brother for 24 hours a day. When something happens to her and I have to go down there for a year, if I can't generate income on my house, I gotta sell my house. And then if I sell my house and I don't have a short-term rental permit, I'm gonna take about a 20% hit. And I don't think that's right. That's all I got to say.
Thank you.
Hi there, we're not gonna get into what we've discussed many times, we're just gonna talk about the moratorium. I'm currently building a house on East Ashley, and we're probably a couple months away from our CO, albeit we've had actually 3 issues with vandals that have set us back a little bit, and obviously the hurricane didn't help out, but I would certainly say no to the moratorium for now, to give everybody the chance that's been building. I mean, we bought in 2020, been building since 2020, and it takes a long time now. So we plan on this kind of be a second home for me and a couple buddies and our families. Both 2 of our wives work for a Roper and can't live here full time because you got to be 45 minutes when you're on call to the hospital. So it's just not availability, but we want to spend, and I've met a lot of nice neighbors. One thing I'm concerned about with the signatures on that, I don't think a lot of the people that are signing them knew what they were signing, because everybody wants to save Folly's future. But
I have nothing to do with it. I didn't collect them, I have nothing to do with it.
To go back to 12 East Garden, Folly Beach. I'm asking you tonight to vote no against this moratorium. I'm not getting to debate one way or the other. It's the 3rd time it's come up. You voted it down twice. We keep sending signals to everyone that we are starting to devalue our properties. You don't believe it? Look at the market, what's happening around here. This council really needs to vote no against this tonight. Thank you.
Anybody else?
I just have a question.
Yes, Vince Perna, 305 East Huron. I'm here to tell you that I know firsthand of owners who have pulled rental licenses with no intention of using them, only because they're afraid that the city's interference in this process is going to damage them. So the number of licenses that we're actually considering as part of this moratorium, the reason for the moratorium, is artificially high because of city interference previously. So I'm here to ask you to just stop interfering with the natural market and the ebbs and flows of how licenses are issued and are in demand. I'd also like to propose that we take that 6-month period and look at the newly implemented objectives in the enforcement arm of the city and evaluate whether those work or not. I think that information would mean a lot to whether or not, when considering the referendum that's being proposed by Save Folly's Future. I think that'd be important information. I don't think we have enough of that information is whether the city is able to manage this very important resource that they obtain. And I'd also like to say that I'm here to speak up for the 76 or more % that didn't sign that petition and ask that you vote no on the moratorium. Thank you.
All right, guys, let's,
This is real quick, because I want to make sure I'm clear. Oh, I understood something clear. I'm Catherine Grimes, 318 East Ashley, 318 East Arctic, 317 East Cooper. I believe, I just want to hear this from Aaron, if he could help me. If this passes tonight and the moratorium referendum, whatever, is approved or goes forward, I want to make sure I'm understanding that until it's voted on by the people, we as owners that have a short-term rental license are allowed to sell our property and transfer that business license. Is that what I'm understanding?
So with no moratorium and no adoption of the petition, the rules continue as are. There's no prohibition against you selling your property and a new person getting a license. The moratorium, if it goes in place, has an exemption written into it. I hope that everyone who spoke to the moratorium read the moratorium. If not, call me or email me tomorrow. The moratorium has an exemption written into it that any legally licensed property on the date that it passes, if it passes, can be sold and the new owner can get a license.
Is that up
within
until
30
the vote?
days.
Until the moratorium either expires or the new things gets voted.
And the new owner could be 6% or 4%.
Correct. So the moratorium contains several exemptions. Any license that exists today can be renewed. Any licensed property that exists today can sell to whomever or whoever, and they can get a new license. This is under the moratorium, not counting the petition at all.
not counting the referendum.
And residential units that are under construction or recently permitted can also apply for a license, but you can't get it until you get the CO. So if you're in a position to get a CO before the cap passes, you're fine. If you're gonna get a CO after the cap passes, you're caught by the cap, not the moratorium.
If the cap passes.
If the cap passes, correct. So if you have any questions about the exemptions, call me tomorrow, email me tomorrow. Check it out online, it's posted.
All right. Anybody else? Okay, we're gonna move on finally. So under new business, no, it's been an hour. And like I said, you know, for the process of the petition, the process is moving forward no matter how the moratorium vote goes. And the process is not, these guys, if you want to see them go to a vote of the people, then say, you guys just say, we don't accept it when it comes back with the names, and it goes to the vote. That's all we have to do, just say, we're not going to accept it, we're not going to vote on it, so it goes to a vote of the people. And if that's what, say Folly's Future, Mr. McFarland stood up here and said that that was what they would like to see, works for me. All right, ordinance 32-22, an ordinance to impose a moratorium on the issuance of new business licenses for short-term rentals within the city of Folly Beach due to pending citizen initiative petition to establish a cap on short-term rentals. Do I have a motion for approval?
So moved.
Do I have a second? Well, I'll second it just for discussion and vote. So, anybody got a discussion? Anybody want to know about it? Anything else from today?
You know, I think at this point, and I've had to keep my mouth shut for 30 minutes, last hour, which is very hard for me. A lot of people got up and said a lot of different things, and there are two staunch sides of this, and we need everybody to be a little more respectful towards the other. Our biggest thing is to be fair to everybody that's up here. And for the last year that we've been discussing this with some people who've just recently are building houses, we've been working on this for over a year. So that your people should have known that this was coming down the pipe, and we've been working on it a long time. We have been fair to the majority of people for a while. We did not pass 2 moratoriums. Now we have a group that has worked hard following state law and has done what they needed to do to put a petition in front of us to send it for verification. We need to give them a little respect too. We have to be fair for everybody. I think 6 months is long. I think we should do a 3-month and let the verification come through. And if that comes through verified, then get it to a vote and do it for another 3 months so that it only covers the time for that. But we do need to give them credit for, they follow state law to a T. I mean, we need to throw them a bone for that, and that's a good job on their part. I personally think a referendum will fail for their side, but who knows? But we do owe them the respect of the work that they've done. I just think 6 months is too long.
Well, we talked about it earlier, you want to hear what I'm thinking, it's like, you were talking about 5 months to start with, so you might as well just go ahead and say 6 months, instead of doing 3 months and have to come back and do it again.
Well, then you're only doing it for the time necessary.
Well,
If we give them 6 months, it'll take 6
this
months.
moratorium dies as soon as the question is decided. If it's decided in 3 months or 4 months or 4.5 months, the moratorium, this part dies. As soon as that question is decided, yes or no.
We have to come back and kill the moratorium.
No, not the way it's written.
Well,
When the question's answered, the moratorium's over with.
but, okay.
Either way it's answered, it's over with.
I see what you're saying. So if that's the route you'd rather take, then that's fine, that's your take. I'd say I'm fine with 3 months for verification, because I do feel this group has done, it's 15% of the population, 25 to 20% of the population. It's not everybody, but it's enough that we do owe them a little bit of.
So are you making a motion?
Yeah.
Wait a minute.
I'll make a motion that we do 3 months for verification.
Do I have a second?
Second.
Discussion on the motion?
If it takes 3 months to get it to pass, I'd take the 3 months.
I think it's gonna take longer than that, because you're not gonna see it back on your desk until December.
Well, I don't have a problem voting for it again if we need more time after the 3 months.
So you wanna sit here and listen to all this again in 3 months?
No, I just,
Because that's what's gonna happen, you're gonna listen to all this again in 3 months.
I don't want it to fail because people aren't happy with 6 months if they take it at 3 and that's what it takes to get it, then do it.
So, the state law does not mandate that we pass a moratorium just because they have presented us an unconfirmed petition, number one. Number two is we all have our opinions in here. I respect everybody's opinion. Try and use some self-discipline, and what's at stake is my property right, my individual property right. So we'll let the thing go to referendum, but it doesn't have anything to do with the moratorium.
You're right.
Don't interrupt me. And I don't think that a moratorium, this concept that a moratorium is needed just because they've presented us with an unconfirmed petition. I think that it causes more harm than good. And I'm just asking y'all to vote no to 3, 6, 1 month, 2 days, all of it.
Yes.
Please vote no.
Okay.
I did, but you
Okay. Yeah, I'd like to, before we vote on the potential amendment of 3 months, say a few things that weren't said in at least one, if not both, of the prior votes on a cap. So I want to commend Mr. McFarland, former Mayor Beck, and others that were involved with Save Folly's future Herculean effort. I didn't know necessarily that you get the votes, but congratulations on having done so and allowing the process to move forward. This may come as a surprise to some. I've always been in favor of a cap. I was on.
Wait a minute now, we're talking about,
I know,
we're talking about his amendment, so you need to get back to what we're talking about.
Yeah,
Not just making a speech.
Yeah, I'm going to.
Okay.
Okay. Always been in favor of a cap since the mayor put me on his committee for such. I won't take too much time on that topic, but furthermore, I am in support of a moratorium. I'm in agreement, as I seconded, with 3, not 6 months. I'm intimately familiar now with the pace at which municipal government works. If we authorize 6 months moratorium, it is going to take us close to 6 months. I'm fairly confident in that fact. I'd rather, as has been mentioned, proceed with 3 months, and if we need to come back here, we'll do so. And from, at least from my perspective, that is progress, seeing as the moratorium has failed twice before at the same 5-2 vote.
You'll say something, Captain?
Okay, so on May 11th, 2022, 6 months later, now is the 6 months that we actually debated this, from what I understand. So, I just want to put on the table that 3, 6, whatnot. And I agree with Mr. Rich back in the day. when we did compromise, and we did say, what's reasonable, 3 months, 6 months, so on. Reality is 6 months later, here we are. That's just where I am. So why wouldn't we look at it the other way? Fine. Go for 6. You're like, woohoo, they jammed that through, we voted in November, so on and so forth. Can't we come back and then say 3 months? I mean, it seems simple, but first of all, governance is great. Don't get me wrong. Whatever the people decide to vote on the next thing, we have to support it. That's the way it works. So, yes, I was one of the ones that said, take the 3. The data looked at it, and in my opinion, it seemed reasonable by now that we would be doing something like this. But I really am not one to kind of turn back the clock, just it's not my nature. So I want to say that I do support right now 6 months, and if we move it up to 3, great. Either way, it's all part of a process. And you're all people that, yes, I have listened to you, we've all agonized, we want to do the right thing. So, bottom line is, we all love Folly.
Anybody else? Mr. Pope?
On the amendment.
On the amendment.
Mr. Barker?
Yes.
Mr. Rich?
Yes.
Mr. Farley?
Yes.
Mr. Ellis?
No.
Mr. Grooms?
Yes.
Dr. Houghton?
No.
Mayor Goodwin?
I'll go with yes, I'll take 3.
Amendment passes.
But in 3, you're gonna be, But in 3, you're gonna be back here in,
Well, that's the plan.
January the
If it's
11th.
verified.
January 11th.
As long as it gets verified, if it gets verified, then we come back and we do it again. There's nothing wrong with that. We've got to be here anyway.
Yeah.
So why not just take the steps to do it in proper channels instead of giving the county 6 months?
The county's gonna take as long as they want, well, no matter what we do, but they said they were gonna do it as fast as they can.
I know you pretty well. I know you'll press them if it gets to be that second month, so.
I'll press them if it gets to the 1st of December.
Right.
So the
Right.
votes in.
So it'll get done in 3 months
The
this
votes in
way.
November that they're worried about.
It'll get done in 3 months this way, because
Maybe.
I'd also offer an amendment that reflects our discussion at the work session. I understand your point of view, and I respect that, but I'll offer the amendment that closely aligns this moratorium to what is proposed by the referendum, and that is to exempt any current 4% property full-time resident who applies for the limited short-term rental and continues to maintain the 4% status, to allow those to continue on. There's no recommendation to include those in the cap, and I don't see any reason to include those in the moratorium.
Okay, I'll second that motion.
Any questions or discussion about that motion? Okay, on the next motion, Mr. Pope.
Dr. Houghton?
No.
Mr. Farley?
Yes.
Mr. Barker?
Yes.
Mr. Ellis?
Yes.
Mr. Rich?
Yes.
Mayor Goodwin?
No.
Passes.
But Mr.
I'm
Grooms?
sorry, Mr. Grooms.
Yes.
Yeah, you don't count that.
Thumbs up.
I'm sorry.
All right.
There's also a question I raised earlier about the loophole that we identified at the last meeting regarding LLCs. And I asked regarding this moratorium, and I believe that loophole is still there that would allow a full transfer of an LLC even during this moratorium. Joe?
Well, what transfer is being?
If we pass the moratorium in a month, if someone has their short-term rental in the name of an LLC.
Yeah.
And they go and sell the LLC, lock, stock, and barrel, including that, does that short-term rental license go to the new owner as part of the purchase of the LLC?
Isn't that one of the exemptions already? So does it, I guess
If it's an existing license, it's exempt from the moratorium.
Yeah.
You see what I mean?
So
That
everyone knows.
concern doesn't arise until we have a cap that includes a ban on short-term, on the transfer of the license, which we don't have yet.
Okay.
You see what I mean?
Every current license could be transferred.
Every current license could be
Under
transferred
the
during the
moratorium,
moratorium.
through the moratorium.
Okay. Thanks.
So that answers.
So.
That does take care of that, although we probably need to take care of that on the other ordinance that we passed last time to eliminate.
We're talking, well, you know, we're talking about that, yeah.
Maybe we could direct staff to close that loophole and fix the ordinance that we passed last time. Would that be fair?
It's just not clear to me where that arises in our current ordinance.
We'll have to talk about it.
Okay.
We'll talk about it.
That's why,
All right.
that's where we are.
Okay.
Back to 3222 as amended. You ready, Mr. Pope?
Mr. Ellis,
No.
Mr. Rich,
Yes.
Mr. Grooms,
Yes, thank you.
Mr. Farley,
Yes.
Mr. Barker,
Yes.
Dr. Houghton,
No.
Mayor Goodwin,
Yes.
passes.
Yeah, we're okay with you.
All right,
Yeah.
we're up to resolution 39-22. Oh, went away. Hey, guys, pay attention here. Yeah, no, y'all be quiet. Tuesday, next Tuesday, look at your calendar real quick. It'll be the 18th.
At school, at municipal association.
Me too.
School,
When is it?
MASC.
No, I got that, but what day is it?
Oh, that's
Wednesday, we leave
Tuesday, Wednesday.
Y'all leaving Tuesday?
Yep, I
What
mean,
time y'all plan on leaving?
I'm working till 5, and leaving after 5.
Like to,
All right,
I'm available in the morning.
I can do whatever.
can you do it in the morning? Adam,
What time? First thing in the morning. I've got something at 10 o'clock.
9 o'clock, Tuesday morning,
What?
Tuesday the 18th. We're having a meeting for the second reading of the ordinance.
When?
Tuesday?
Tuesday the 18th, 9 a.m.
Tuesday, the 18th of October?
Yep,
Oh, yeah, I'll be here.
okay.
I may or may not be here. I don't tell people when I leave town. I don't want people to
I ain't
know that my
asking
house
you
is
to leave,
vacant.
I ain't asking you to leave town, you might be working, but Tuesday the 18th,
Hey,
9
I'm working out
o'clock.
of town.
yeah,
Get the heck away from these cheapskates.
All right, hey,
Away from these
hey, let's get back to order and get through this. Resolution 39-22, resolution by Folly Beach City Council setting the rental registration permit fee at a rate of $17.50 per $1,000 of gross revenue reported for business licensing. Have a motion to approve?
So moved.
Have a second?
Second.
Any more questions on this? Okay.
Mr. Barker,
Yes.
Mr. Rich,
Yes.
Dr. Houghton,
Yes.
Mr. Farley,
Yes.
Mr. Ellis,
No.
Mr. Grooms,
yes.
Mayor Goodwin,
Yes.
passes.
Resolution 40-22, a resolution awarding $1,150 to the Folly Beach Senior Citizens Club for outreach efforts as recommended by the Community Promotions Committee. Have a motion to approve?
So moved.
Have a second?
Second.
Any discussion?
Mr. Barker,
Yes.
Mr. Farley,
Yes.
Mr. Grooms,
Yes.
Dr. Houghton,
Yes.
Mr. Ellis,
Yes.
Mr. Rich,
Yes.
Mayor Goodwin,
Yes.
passes.
Comments, Mr. Grooms?
I'd like to thank Kyle for fixing the water today, west side. Big hero today. I am getting a haircut tomorrow. And the pickleball fundraiser for the Exchange Club is coming up November 5th and 6th. If you've not registered to play, the city will have on their website, well, Exchange Club will have it on their website, or you can contact me and I'll get you the QR code to register to play. It's going to be an exciting time, giving money raised for the Exchange Club, going to a local veteran scholarship. So, thank you.
Mr. Ellis?
I'll pass.
Farley?
Mayor, I want to thank everybody that lives on the east side and Eric for seeing this project through. I saw the walking path. I know we ran into a lot of difficulties with stuff that was hidden and pipes that were hidden and not marked. And I saw the plantings went in today. They got nice blooms on them and it looks fantastic. But I did want to recognize the hard work you put into it and our staff and the patience of the people that lived on that side, because it took longer than anybody anticipated. But I'm glad it's either done or nearly done now.
All the stuff that we found that nobody knew was there made a difference. But I will say, the drainage and curbing and everything made a difference in that what would have been a massive flooding for that area, it didn't seem to be flooding. So that after with that 10 rainstorm, so it's working.
There we go. Then we can get Center Street next.
Skipper's left, okay.
Yeah.
I do want to say there's two themes that I just keep thinking of. And isn't it amazing what we all did through Ian? In the sense of, I don't even have a clue about the puddles and the this and the people that slipped over and the whole 9 yards. But essential personnel just kept the ball rolling. So first of all, I want to commend what we did to come together I mean, who really thought that would do a curveball? I mean, amazing. So I'm so grateful that we weren't the hit, but so grateful for the team. That's the first thing. Second thing, Halloween. Oh my heavens. Okay, people. Now, I really want to tell you that this is like a think about the fact that city comes together, civic club comes together, the businesses come together for all of these amazing 2 days. Clean the beach, do the whole 9 yards. I also want to put Calpit a little bit on the spot because he was like amazingly generous, just like boom, with Fab and others. So there's so much that goes into the last few weeks, for me anyway. I know I'm a little long-winded because this is an amazing piece to love, govern, and just live. So thank you.
Thank you. Tough act to follow there. Just to finish that thought from earlier, I am in favor of a cap. We're making progress tonight. Was I think a big win for most constituencies insofar as the moratorium is concerned, 3 months in length. The cap is certainly nuanced. I agree that what Save Folly's Future is proposing is an improvement over the initial, all due respect, mayor's proposal. And if it's not your vision, I think it will be something else. But I want you and others to know I support a cap. You really do need to look at the data, and I won't belabor this, but as best I understand it, as of October 14th, 2022, there are 1,112 short-term rental business licenses issued. Of those, some 232 licenses have no or minimal revenue associated with them. So I know, and I'm sure you all do as well, countless individuals, 4%ers who ran out to get short-term rental business licenses in anticipation of this, and ultimately those will clear the system. And while we may not be at 800, we'll be in a far better place than the 1,112 of record. So I'm confident, bear with us. We're gonna have something, whether it be via the petition or not the petition, our own doing, that I'm hopeful we'll call for a cap, because I for one don't look forward to a future in which, for instance, there are more than 50% of all dwellings on Folly being owned by investors, not residents.
Mr. Rich?
Most people have left. What I really wanted to say was, as we continue to go through this, everybody needs to take a step back. Everybody here, somebody said earlier that everybody here has Folly's best interests in their heart. But I saw a lot of people that I love and respect snicker at other people and shake their heads no and kind of say, you have to respect other people's opinions too. They're just as important as yours. And it's our job to deal with the majority of those people's opinions and try and navigate the best for the majority of the group going forward, which I think we've done a great job of. So everybody please just take a step back when it comes to that. You have to respect your neighbor's opinions as well. I don't care what side you're on, what you think your property's worth or any of it. Everybody has an opinion about it and they have a right to. So please just respect that a little more as we finish this out.
Okay, one thing before we go, not to belabor a lot, but Ian did a world of damage in Florida. I'm just tired. We got lucky again at Folly Beach. You said who knew it was going, the money before it did it. I told the staff, if that thing crosses Florida and gets into the Atlantic Ocean, then it will be on us, just like Hugo was. We'll see it hit McClellanville, Allendale. Well, it didn't miss it by much. It was a little bit north of McClellanville, but it did about the same track that the crazy storm did in 1989. But, you know, what worries me and what I told General Graham from the Corps of Engineers, who's the second in command of the whole Corps of Engineers, he said, what's your biggest problem with communication for hurricanes? I said, my biggest problem now is 80% of the people who live here in the Charleston area, if not more, have never seen a real hurricane. So now they're gonna think, oh, I lived through Ian, a hurricane is nothing. And they get a Hugo or they get an Ian like they've seen in Fort Myers, Florida. So, you know, just don't take that as a hurricane for us. Take that as a hurricane for us when you look at Fort Myers. That's what Charleston would look like if that hurricane had come to here like it did there. So keep that in mind and tell that to all your friends and neighbors. And think about maybe donating to the Red Cross or Salvation Army or whoever relief for the victims in Florida. And not just Florida, but Georgetown and Pawleys Island and up that way. So have a
Motion to adjourn.
There you go. Thank you.
Special